Have you achieved success and a high income, but still lack personal fulfillment and work-life balance? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Successful But Struggling podcast. Join us as Erin, Eunicia, Joanne, and Mim share transformative insights and practical strategies just for you. Discover real stories and lessons that will elevate your personal satisfaction, professional accomplishment, and financial empowerment.
In this episode, I am with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Dr. Erin Hurley. She's a pediatrician and a coach and my co-host. And we are going to be talking about gratitude. And I'm actually going to start where I left off the last episode. So many people talk to me about their difficulty journaling. And you guys know I'm a strong advocate for journaling. And journaling about 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for, it's such a beautiful practice and a great way to get into journaling. And today we're going to be talking about the importance and the benefits of gratitude as a whole. So, Erin, I know that this is important to you, and I would love to hear it and what comes to mind and some examples that you can share with us about this amazing topic.
Yeah. Well, in the US, the day that this episode's released is Thanksgiving Day. And so this may not resonate with everyone from around the world, but for those of us in the US, this is the day we pause and are thankful for what we have. And as we're recording this, it's a few weeks before Thanksgiving, and I am traveling with a group of 7 women. And we haven't all traveled together before. This is a new experience. We're in Costa Rica, and it has been extremely rainy, and that's not always the case. And so even though we haven't had much sunshine, we are celebrating. We're grateful and thankful for the warm weather. We're thankful for being together. And on the second day that we were here, we celebrated my sister-in-law's birthday. And what I loved about it is that I was thinking, oh, we're going to go out, take her to one of the fancier restaurants. We'll get dressed up. We're going to do all this stuff. We didn't do any of that. It was so simple. I bought some baked goods from the local bakery. We ate some simple tostadas and tacos, and we hung around. And one of my sister-in-laws had brought some of those facial things, the little things that you put on your face that's like a paper thing or like a gel thing. So she went around and put these facial things on everybody's faces. I painted people's nails. So as 7 women just sat around and hung out together, pampered each other, had a simple meal, sang happy birthday a few times, nothing fancy. And what I loved about it, we laughed so hard. We had such a good time, and we were just celebrating being together, loving life, and being with each other, and nothing was over the top. It was so simple. And that's just a reminder that we can look for really tiny things. And when we practice looking for what we're thankful for, it gets easier and easier to do. And Joanne, I would love to hear, how about you as you think about things we're grateful for? We talked about this, as you said, on our last episode about looking for those things, our wins, and celebrating them. How about you? What are some wins or things that you're thankful for?
First of all, I want to say that I was so into your story. Like, I totally imagined all of you all together and celebrating and the sweetness of it. So thank you for sharing. And yes, those are beautiful moments. And I think of that because I am practicing gratitude on a regular basis. Like you're saying, one of the benefits later on is that you start picking it up as you go. And things like, I am running a little bit late to work and all the lights were green. Little things like that. Or my Puerto Rican coffee was perfect this morning. And of course, I'm very grateful for my kids and my health and my mom who lives with me and all those things. But I love your practice too. I do it as well, of starting my group coaching calls with something that we're grateful for, something that went well. And so often, sadly, the response I get was, "Oh, I have nothing." And I'm like, "No, let's take that away. We're reframing that." And we can always connect with something that we're grateful for, something good that happened, and even something that wasn't that great, but that we were able to find that silver lining. So many benefits. I love this.
And I know I was leading a group call earlier this week, and I was watching to see who's going to unmute and who's gonna do that. So as we're opening the call, okay, let's share our wins for the week. And so there was a couple of members who were kind of being quiet, and I said. At the end, I said, you know, that if it takes you a while to come up with something to be grateful for or a win to celebrate, that means you're not practicing enough and you're getting rusty. So you need to do this more often. So
You
calling
got them
people out on
busted.
it. Yeah, I've
Yes,
done that with
I'm
kids.
a. That's a good one. I am a on mute police as well in my coaching costume. Like, okay, I'm watching who's gonna get called next. I love that. But yeah, it's again beautiful prompts in a safe space that we both provide in our group coaching. And Erin, I would love if you could also talk to us about why is it particularly important for us as women in medicine to be connected with gratitude?
One of the most powerful reasons is we are role models. We are often leaders in our organizations. We are often leaders of our team. Our staff look up to us. Our patients look up to us. If we're a partner or spouse or a parent, our children and our partners look up to us. When we think about role modeling, it's it's as important as when you start a conversation, Joanne. If I start that conversation negatively, then the person responding is likely to respond in a negative manner. So if I know that every time I talk to Susie, that she tends to be down in the dumps and talk negatively, if I preemptively start first and I make it positive and say, oh my goodness, did you see the beautiful sunrise this morning? Oh my gosh, feel this warmth of this beautiful fall day. I can actually change the trajectory of our conversation. And I have to be aware of that and just say, okay, what if I did that with all of the conversations? What if I always started first specifically to start them out positively? Imagine the ripple effect.
Hmm.
And
Oh
when you
yeah.
realize your power, embrace it and use it to your advantage.
Yes, sorry that I interrupted you because I get overexcited because the negative is contagious all on its own. And this is a beautiful way to have that intention of spreading the goodness and the joy. And again, if we haven't, it becomes our responsibility to show up with that beautiful presence and energy. Um as
And before we,
a
but
Go
go
ahead.
ahead and finish. You
No, go
finish
ahead.
first. Well, I just want to share that we need to be aware of the ripple effect. And there's also research, I think it's from the Happiness Advantage book by Sean Aker, who has an amazing, funny TED Talk as well, if you haven't seen it. But he talks about if you are in a good mood, you are impacting, I think it's a mile radius of people around you. So when you choose to interact positively, think about the ripple effect back onto you. When you positively impact the people in a mile radius around you, and then you interact with them, now you're actually getting positive right back at you. It's kind of like a mirror reflecting. Do you want to reflect positive energy or negative energy at yourself? And so let's just be really mindful of that. And you talked about this in our last episode, Joanne, too, that came out on Tuesday. You talked about what do we need to let go of? If we let go of more of that negativity and we train our brains, our reticular activating systems, what do I need to be looking for? Let's look for the gratitude and the positive things. And let's role model how easily we can do that, even when times are tough. At the time of this recording, it's been a really tough week for a lot of the people we've been around. And I'm choosing to acknowledge, yep, it's been tough. And I'm still going to celebrate my wins. And I'm still going to be grateful for those people that I'm around. not to minimize what people are going through. I'm not going to let it ruin my day or my week or my year. I'm saying, what do I have control over? And let's celebrate that.
So important. And what I was gonna say, putting my psychiatry hat on, is that there's also research that shows how gratitude practice can improve your mental health. And not to minimize, of course, the severity of it sometimes, but if you can imagine that it can lessen symptoms of depression and anxiety exactly because of what you're saying. And then we also know that it improves relationships, our physical health, our connections and outlook. It's right. If like we say, if we can put this in a pill, everyone would want to take it. And we need to practice it because we can. It's our responsibility, and it's just going to make our lives better.
And we talk about serious issues on this podcast as well. In the past, we were talking about physician suicide awareness. And one of the things I want to point out when we're talking about tiny little things, what if you wrote 3 things, to of gratitude? What if you talked about 3 things of gratitude when you're interacting with your staff or your children or your patients? And there's 2 individuals that Joanne and I both know very well. Both of them have shared with us their past history of being very suicidal, very far along the spectrum, not just thoughts, passive thoughts, but active suicidal thoughts. And even one of them taking actions, writing notes. They were so far along that path. And that was decades ago. And now, as grown adults, and these individuals have impacted their lives in a positive manner by choosing practices every day that remind them this life is worth living. So not to minimize, again, the severity of when life gets overwhelming, but also not to minimize those tiny little incremental things that you do can have a powerful impact, so that if you keep practicing them and those positive things you do, the gratitude that you share happens every day, week after week, month after month, year after year, a decade or 2, who knows how much your life will change from those tiny little shifts of finding gratitude and finding things to be thankful for, even when life is really hard.
And that's what part of what I wanted to ask you. What are some tools that we can practice to make this a daily routine, to infuse our days with all this positive emotion?
One of the things I alluded to is maybe challenging yourself. Sometimes we don't do things for ourselves. It's not important enough, but is there someone in your life, maybe someone you supervise, maybe a relative who seems down? Can you reach out to them, have a conversation, and start with asking them a question? Hey, I was thinking it's, Thanksgiving time, the end of the year. I just been thinking about things to be grateful for. What are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? So challenging yourself to reach out to people. Maybe this is the advanced thing. Maybe I should have saved it for last, but sometimes it's like when you've got it down yourself, I challenge myself. I'm pretty good about finding gratitude in myself, but I like to level it up and say, how can I create a positive ripple effect and share that with others? So asking others and challenging them, like, how can I be a positive impact and helping them be more grateful? As Joanne talked about, journaling, you don't have to make it complicated. You could have a little notebook next to your bed, and you can either start your day with 30 seconds, a minute and a half, and write 3 things you're grateful for. You can end your day on a very positive note and plant seeds in your subconsciousness to find 1, 2, or 3 things you're grateful for. And different than just thinking it, writing it down. Joanne's talked about this. When you write it down, pen to paper, different than typing it in your computer, but pen to paper. There's something in the circuitry. Maybe Joanne can share this on another episode about how that works. But there's wiring that happens, and then you're actually getting it out of your thoughts and onto a piece of paper. and creating a different sense of reality. So, can you do a 2 minutes or less practice at the beginning and or end of your day? And can you create some sort of ritual of making this a regular practice? For some people, it's mealtime. For some people, again, it's the beginning and the end of their day. I know I train people in using the full focus planner, and there's now a place in their wellness one that talks about things that you're grateful for and successes. But really, it doesn't have to be complicated, but it leaves also, when you write it down, it leaves a path for you to look back onto and say, oh, what was I grateful for 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago, last year? And the power in that, and I'm going to mess this up. I don't remember if it was Sean Aker or somebody else talked about a program where you did it for 3 weeks and you had to write a different gratitude every day. It couldn't be the same things. I'll pull up the resources and share it at a future episode. But you really can rewire the circuitry of your brain by practicing these things and making it a habit. And Joanne, maybe you want to share from a psychiatry perspective as well as a coach, any additional resources or expertise that you have with those practices.
Yes, the rewiring is exactly what we're doing with all this coaching work and all these tools that we share here in personal development. Is if the negative is always available, but so is the positive. And our brain is trained to look at the negative because that's how it keeps us alive. Avoid anything that seems like it's dangerous, but then of course it's not like we're getting eaten by a tiger anymore, right? And whatever it is from those times. And we have to very intentionally think of the positives without necessarily ignoring the things that are bothering us, but focusing on the things that are going well. And that's what's going to give us that good energy and refuel our batteries to keep on moving forward. And it's not that we're ignoring the negative, we're just adding the positive. And we have to do that intentionally. And the more we do it, the more automatic it is. And it's not that we're going to be like, popular terms of this toxic positivity. That's not what we're saying. It's actually quite the opposite. We are acknowledging the things that are there and then also acknowledging the things that are not wrong, the things that are filling up our hearts and we're grateful for. And we don't have to wait until Thanksgiving, which is the day this episode is dropping, to say all the things that we're grateful for and then eat a lot of food. We need to make this, like Erin is saying, into a daily practice, whichever way you need it, to set up a little alarm or sticky notes. For a long time, I carried a gratitude journal just as a reminder. And it's been one of those beautiful gifts of this work that I've had in the last years.
Love that. Love that. And making it, I know for me, I'm a visual person. So when I have that one little journal next to my bed or on my pillow, and then it's my reminder, that pattern interrupter to say, oh, don't just get into bed or scroll mindlessly on your phone. No, pick up that journal, write those 3 things, and then have that planting seeds of goodness while you sleep.
I love that. And talking about gratitude, I'm so grateful to you, Erin. I love you. And to our listener, that you're helping us grow this show. And again, don't forget the things that Erin reviewed with us in remembering things that you want to celebrate, big and small. That's another way to have gratitude, because those are facts. If you and your brain can't argue with you. Those are facts, things that happened that you can celebrate and then feel very grateful for. The importance, especially as women in medicine, that we deal with so many stressors, we have to connect with the positive emotions, and that we're being role models, and how gratitude can improve our overall health and well-being. So it becomes our responsibility too. And we gave you a lot of ideas. Pick one, whether it's writing down literally 1 or 2 things that you're grateful for. You can say it when you get in the car, when you get to your office, at the start of a meeting, at the end of the day. Getting to the practice is a beautiful, easy way to recharge our mental and emotional batteries. And Erin, give us one more little pearls of wisdom, like I say.
Well, I'm going to do a little teaser into our next episode, which is about energy. And one of the things that you might be aware of is that when we have negative thoughts and we're feeling down, our energy is an energy drain. And so many women in medicine are just exhausted, and our energy levels, when I ask people to rate them, they're at a 3 out of a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 is the highest and 1 is the lowest. And so if we can learn to let go of some of those energy drains like negativity, and if we can lean into the positivity, which helps boost our energy, or if nothing else, helps put a plug in that drain out of our energy tank, then let's lean in more to those positives that are going to preserve our energy. And we'll talk about that more in our very next episode.
Love this feel good episodes. We need more of this. And if you love them too, we would love, again, using the word love over and over again, if you could go to the front page of the podcast where you hit go to show, scroll down a little bit and give us a rating and a review. That's what's going to help us get in front of a bigger audience and spread this joy. And stay tuned for our next episode.
Don't miss out on more strategies that will elevate you to new heights. Visit successfulbutstruggling.com now, where you'll discover exclusive resources and the opportunity to connect with each of us individually. There you can dive deeper into how you, too, can take your personal and professional game to the next level. And if you're serious about optimizing your results, take 2 quick steps now. Number 1, connect with us on the website. And number 2, tune in to the next episode.